This training video is presented to demonstrate best safety practices for temporary traffic control. In the video, we provide a closer look at how a typical lane closure is set up and taken down on the main turnpike. While this video doesn't show all possible variations of the setup, it does provide an overview of the standard process performed by all maintenance camps. The main turnpike takes safety very seriously and adheres to all of the latest safety guidelines. Lane closures will be set up and taken down the same way at all maintenance camps. Safety is in your hands. Let's take a look at how to set up a single lane closure on the main line beginning at the maintenance yard with the job safety analysis meeting. Then, we'll look at how to stage vehicles before the actual setup. Watch how the vehicles are positioned and note the movements of each team member. The video will break down each stage of the closure and the safety precautions implemented. All closures begin at the maintenance yard. It is here that everyone participating in the lane closure attends a 10-minute Job Safety Analysis, or JSA meeting. At this meeting, each team member will acknowledge their assignments and duties, ensure proper high-visibility clothing is being worn, confirm their assigned vehicle and equipment is in good working order, and make sure that all traffic devices necessary for the lane closure are in good condition and properly loaded into the vehicle. This graphic shows the next step in preparing the lane closure. Following the job safety analysis meeting and establishing radio communication, the vehicle is then moved to and stage on the shoulder of the road, a nearby ramp, or an emergency vehicle ramp. The specific staging area will depend on the location of the closure. A typical lane closure involves the following vehicles in order of approaching traffic: a truck-mounted attenuator, a traffic control truck with impact attenuator, and a pickup with aero board. Once ready and the team is in radio contact with each other, the vehicles leave the yard. The roadwork 1 mile signs are placed by the traffic control truck to alert traffic of an upcoming work zone. Be sure that crossing lanes on foot can be done safely. Consider any load being carried, the distance traveled, the volume and speed of the traffic, and the ability to escape in an emergency. At no time should crew members stop to pick up dropped signs, easels, or other items unless they are certain it can be done safely. The truck-mounted attenuator and pickup are staged on the ramp until the traffic control truck arrives. All vehicles move into place with the truck-mounted attenuator behind the pickup to place the right lane closed half-mile signs concurrently on the main line and ramp. These signs are placed on the shoulder and median sides of mainline traffic, so both lanes of travel can see the signs for the upcoming lane closure. The traffic control truck continues ahead to set the right lane end sign. Once set, it moves to the first part of the closure, the shoulder closure. Once in place, the traffic control truck radios the other vehicles telling them it's ready for the next step. The truck-mounted attenuator confirms when it's safe to move ahead and alerts the pickup and traffic control truck it's on the way. Now that the advanced warning signs are placed, we prepare for the first components of the physical lane closure. The order of the vehicles starting from the first vehicle seen by approaching traffic is the truck-mounted attenuator, the traffic control truck, and the pickup truck with aero board. It's important to note the aero boards have been on bar up to this point. The pickup with aero board and truck-mounted attenuator move into position. Note the traffic control truck is positioned approximately 1 delineator 250 feet back from where the first cone will be placed. This gives the pickup room to pull in front of the traffic control truck to set the first cone. The pickup team then ensures cones are ready and radios the others that they're ready to switch from bar to arrow and begin with the closure cone setup. The truck-mounted attenuator, now in position behind the traffic control truck, informs the team to switch to arrow. The truck-mounted attenuator then radios the team when it's safe for the traffic control truck to move into the lane. The pickup team sets out the first 7 cones within the shoulder as the traffic control truck takes full control of the lane. The truck-mounted attenuator moves up to maintain a minimum 200 to 250 foot distance from the traffic control truck, all while continuing to control the shoulder. The pickup team can now set out the remaining 3 cones extending the shoulder closure into the lane. All arrows are on. Notice how the truck-mounted attenuator is blocking the shoulder and the traffic control truck is blocking the lane. All 3 vehicles move ahead, each maintaining a minimum separation of 250 feet from the vehicle in front. Once the last shoulder cone is set, the pickup can disconnect the arrow board and set out the last 3 cones which are placed in the lane. Once the last 3 cones are set, the pickup pulls forward and stages on the shoulder before the exit ramp. The truck-mounted attenuator then pulls into the lane and shadows the traffic control truck as the 2 vehicles now move ahead and prepare to finish the closure setup before the ramp. Once the pickup has left the setup, the traffic control truck and the truck-mounted attenuator pull ahead until the truck-mounted attenuator is a minimum of 250 feet from the arrow board. The traffic control truck now backs into the cones set by the pickup team and prepares to take over, setting out the remaining taper cones to where it'll set the work zone speed limit sign. The truck-mounted attenuator shadows the traffic control truck as it prepares to set up the exit open ahead sign. The traffic control truck moves ahead and sets the lane taper cones, work zone speed limit sign, skip line cones, and exit ramp taper cones. The truck-mounted attenuator shadows the traffic control truck and moves into the closure to set the exit open ahead sign. All vehicles stage before the ramp. The traffic control truck moves ahead and sets the lane taper cones to where it'll set the work zone speed limit sign. Note the team member exiting the bed on the shoulder side of the traffic control truck. This helps minimize the crew member's exposure to traffic. In this demonstration, the team is setting the speed limit sign in front of the traffic control truck, but it is also permissible to set up the speed limit sign within the closure behind the traffic control truck. When the situation allows, set the sign in the middle of the closed lane. This will minimize wind from blowing the sign into an active lane. Once the speed limit sign is set, the closure is considered official, though not complete. even though the buffer space and work zone cones are not yet set. At this point, all vehicles within the closure should be set to bar. The traffic control truck moves ahead to complete the skip line cones and exit ramp taper cones. The truck-mounted attenuator sets the exit open ahead sign. Note that the pickup truck and the traffic control truck stage in the shoulder before the exit ramp, while the truck-mounted attenuator stages inside the closed lane before the ramp. Once the truck-mounted attenuator is in position, the vehicles are ready to cross over to the lane and gore to complete the exit ramp shoulder cones. The pickup and traffic control truck cross the ramp to move into the next part of the setup. The pickup truck stages in the gore while the traffic control truck controls the lane. The truck-mounted attenuator pulls out of the closure through the skip line cones and stages in the lane next to the gore to shadow the traffic control truck. The teams now set up the remaining ramp cones and set the exit sign in the lane. The truck-mounted attenuator radios the traffic control truck and pickup when it is clear for all three vehicles to move across the ramp. The pickup moves into the gore to set the ramp cones and exit sign while the traffic control truck takes control of the lane. The truck-mounted attenuator moves into position behind the traffic control truck. The pickup sets the ramp side cones along the gore, then sets the exit sign with the help of the traffic control truck. The truck-mounted attenuator remains in position behind the traffic control truck. After the ramp cones are complete and the exit sign is set up, the pickup team pulls ahead and leaves the setup. The traffic control truck moves ahead to continue setting the skip line cones to where it'll set the end work zone speed limit sign. The truck-mounted attenuator can now either leave the site or pull into the closure. The following slide illustrates what the closure would look like if the ramp had a deceleration lane before the exit. The pickup and traffic control truck teams work together to set the gore cones and exit sign as efficiently as possible to limit the time in the gore. After the ramp cones are complete and the exit sign is set, the pickup leaves the setup. The team sets out cones to where it'll set the end work zone speed limit sign. Once the sign is set, the traffic control truck backs up within the closed lane and collects 500 feet of cones, creating the required separation between work zone and end work zone limit. It's important to note a second speed limit sign will be placed after the next on-ramp if the work zone extends beyond the on-ramp. The traffic control truck sets out cones to where it'll set the end work zone speed limit signs. Once the signs are set, the traffic control truck backs up within the closed lane and collects 500 feet of cones, creating the required separation between work zone and end work zone limit. The traffic control truck then continues to back up in the closed lane until it's in position to provide its truck-mounted attenuator for the work zone. Note the traffic control truck practice of turning its front wheels away from traffic. At this point, the lane closure is complete and ready for the work crew to enter the work zone. The removal process or takedown of a lane closure is the reversal of the setup. Vehicles work from the end of the closure back to the beginning, with vehicles backing up to take down the setup. To begin the removal, the traffic control truck set to bar pulls into the lane closure and removes the end work zone speed limit sign. Then, it backs up within the closed lane to pick up the cones along the skip line in reverse order from when they were set. Note the end work zone speed sign set on the shoulder remains until all of the cones are picked up. When the traffic control truck has arrived at the end work zone speed limit sign to begin picking up the skip line cones, the truck-mounted attenuator is called into position at the ramp. The truck-mounted attenuator pulls up behind the gore closure to protect the traffic control truck as the crews remove the cones and exit sign. The truck-mounted attenuator exits on the ramp and pulls around to stage in the shoulder behind the aero board. The traffic control truck backs into the ramp shoulder to continue removing the exit ramp taper and skip line cones. The traffic control truck removes the exit open ahead sign and removes the remaining skip line cones back to the speed limit sign as the pickup truck pulls into the closure to attach the aero board. Once the aero board is attached, the pickup truck leaves the setup. When the traffic control truck has picked up all skip line cones and arrives at the work zone speed limit sign, the truck-mounted attenuator and pickup are called into position. The pickup pulls into the closure and backs up to attach the aero board. The truck-mounted attenuator pulls onto the shoulder near the first of the cones while maintaining a minimum 200 to 250 foot separation from the aero board. Once attached, the pickup and arrow board leave the closure. Once the pickup and arrow board have left the closure, the truck-mounted attenuator, with arrow on, pulls into the lane to shadow the traffic control truck. The traffic control truck, with arrow on, continues backing along the taper to remove the lane taper cones. Once the traffic control truck has removed all lane taper cones and is on the shoulder, the truck-mounted attenuator pulls onto the shoulder to continue shadowing. The truck-mounted attenuator should maintain a minimum 200 to 250 foot separation from the remaining cones. All arrows are now switched to the caution bar. The traffic control truck picks up the remaining taper cones on the shoulder. The lane closure removal is complete when the traffic control truck circles back around and picks up the remaining signs set on the shoulder and median.